p.m. Do you know where your children are? So that's boomer parents needed a reminder at 10 o'clock. Search for their kids. Us Gen Xers were just roaming the streets back in the 80s. You know, the rule was come home when the street lights came on. And as long as we were playing right in front of the house, we could stay out later during the summer when the street lights were on. We live in Alberta, man. The sun doesn't go down till like 11 o'clock during the summer. So, I mean, we were really out of our parents' hair back in the 80s. I remember just disappearing just all day long. I don't know. I have to make sure I'm near a washroom nowadays as an adult. But when I was a kid, I don't remember using washrooms anywhere in the town as I was biking around all day. Right? Like, it was weird. Anyway, my name is Ian Hopfe. I'm an HR consultant, and you're watching Ian the HR Pro live podcast. I actually managed to be just about on time. My clock said 11:31 when I started, so good on me, bad on you if you're used to my 11:33 start time. Nah. So anyway, today is I keep thinking it's Friday. It's not Friday. I even put on my Friday shirt. It's a new design I put into my TeePublic store. I am HR. Yeah, it's because I'm an HR consultant. And it's cold up here today, so I'm going to have my sweater on today. My old man sweater, as my wife likes to call it. Although I should keep my hair cut short like this because you can't really see the gray in my hair too much. Not bad, but you can see it in my beard, so I'm tempted to dye my beard, but whatever. Yeah, today is Career Club. So we're talking resumes, cover letters, job hunts, interview prep, all that jazz. Sorry, that was a terrible knuckle cracking sound. Better. Sorry if my mom's listening. She hates that. Someone's chatting. I'm home today and logged in at 11:32. Booyah! I was here a minute before you, Joy. In your face. In your face. I really want some tea, but I just heated up the water. It's like burning my face off, and I haven't even got my lips to it yet. So we'll have regular water. Oh, regular water. I see all these old-timey shows where people are drinking at work, or at least breaking out the booze when a special client comes in, or breaking out the booze at the end of the day, or God forbid, people are just drinking all day. I mean, you go out for that 2-hour executive lunch, there's gonna be a few martinis, right? That's really frowned upon now. If you're working, so as an employee, you shouldn't be going out and getting drunk at lunchtime. Got this shirt, my sweater, everything's just all over. It's not comfortable right now. So yeah, that's a big thing with workplaces. No to the drinkage. And now the cannabis is legalized in Canada. It's still no for smoking the reefer while you're at work, man. Clean and sober. Unless you got some other type of work. I don't know. I don't know what work allows a little bit of reefer. Excuse me. So, we were supposed to do a follow-up on Joy's resume, my big sister. We last week we did a bunch of tips for her. She said she updated it. She said she's home. So should I open that up? I don't know. Do I still have her link? New window. Google. And into the Google Drive. I got Joy Grant resume here still. What is going on? I clicked the wrong button. Owner, shared with, reason suggested. I edited it on the 20th. Let's see if she did edits. Oh, it looks like she did some edits. I don't want to open up a document that's not hers. I mean, not ready to go. Not bad. I will blank out some of her info just while I'm looking at it. The heck color is that, man? Oh no, that's right. And blue, is that the color? That's gonna be the color. So get ready, Joy. We're so gonna trash your new resume, even though you spent all this time. You're no fun. I'm taking up drinking if I ever get a job again. No drinking on the job. No drinking on the job. It's hot. It's hot. I'm gonna do the share screen now. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Joy's resume here. On a scale of 1 to 10, everybody vote in the comments. Would you hire Joy? So we see, right, she took off her street address. She had her small town street address. She still has the postal code. That is fine for small town. Do you realize my cell and email is everywhere on the web already? But that's fine. But I'm also showing that I'm being considerate. If someone else wants to put their resume online, I will try to redact their personal information. That's fine. So I just do that. She'd hire me. I'd hire me. She says, fine, go do something. You already hired yourself. Anyway, so let's get into it, Elizabeth. Okay, so she created a summary. Last time there was no summary. She went right into her education. Right? So now we got a summary. Detailed, oriented administrative assistant with strong organizational communications, multitasking skills, experience in managing schedules, supporting daily office, and maintaining accurate records, known for reliability, efficiency, and delivering excellent internal, external customer service. Fail on that. Sorry for being so harsh, but you fail on that whole thing. This is a list of your skills. This is an unprovable list of your skills. Move all these into one of your job descriptions. One of your work experience, one of your volunteer experience. You want to say detailed oriented. Put that in one of the jobs. Don't just say detailed oriented, right? You say had to deal with a lot of different things, right? Uh, this is a funeral company. The last thing you want to do is mess up on their loved one's funeral arrangements, right? So you could say, had to be detailed oriented because I didn't want to mess up someone's funeral, right? Like you can put it in there. So each one of these, I mean, these are, yes, there's a lot of admin type work. You might say you want to admin assistant position in this, right? But you're going to want to do something a little bit different. I don't know. Let's see. Just reading mine, the new version I have, I've fallen back into this draft too. The idea of the summary is to basically, I've been doing this type of work. I would like to move into similar role or something like that, and I'm fluent in French if you speak another language, right? So even my resume's gone backwards. I've taken all kinds of additional advice from other places, because mine says something very similar, and it's very bizarre that I've managed to revert from what I have done to something else, right? So let's try to keep your summary more about actual skills as opposed to things that are a little more like detail oriented. It's not specific enough. I hate resumes now. In the traditional sense, you're probably okay with this summary, right? Problem is, it is so hard to prove that you're detail oriented. Strong organizational communication and multitasking skills. It's again something. This is a little more detail. Experienced in, managing schedules, supporting daily office operations, and maintaining accurate records. This is a different type of skill. This first sentence is soft skills that are harder to prove just by saying it. You know what I mean? I'm a hard worker. I'm detailed oriented. I'm organized, right? I communicate well. Like these things, multitasking. I would take multitasking out because multitasking really isn't a thing, because we all work on one thing and then we switch over to another thing. We're not actually doing multiple things at once. We might be good at switching from task to task to task, or we might be fast so that we can complete a task and then move on to the next one. But there is no true multitasking. Anyone who's demanding a multitasker needs to use a different word. They need to say something like has the ability to switch from task to task, depending on needs or something like that. There is no real multitasking. That's just not a thing. I might say I'm a multitasker, but that's because when I'm doing something and working hard, my brain is actually actively thinking about other things or the next task. And then I might switch over and do that, right? Known for reliability, efficiency, and delivering excellent internal and external customer service. I had a sentence once that ChatGPT gave me known for, and I didn't like it. It felt like lying. Oh my god, these stupid screens are like trying to go big on me. Yeah, mine in my opinion is currently just as crappy as what I think yours is. Let me share mine. And I realize that it's just as crappy. How do I... Let's go with this. Oh yeah, and of course everybody can see my telephone number. Don't call me assholes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm kind of in a bad mood today. I apologize. So here's my crappy summary. This is just come new here when I was trying to update my own resume, and I don't know why it came out like this, because this is something I absolutely don't like. I'm a human resources professional with extensive nonprofit leadership experience and a strong understanding of Alberta employment legislation, skilled in full cycle HR, including recruitment, workforce planning, employee relations, disciplinary investigations, and performance management, experience with policy, constitution, bylaw, and strategic plan development. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. I mean, it is me. It's telling 100% truth, but I hate summaries. I almost feel like you should just get rid of your summary, because it feels like a mini cover letter, and it forces us to stack unprovable skills. So I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't know how to say it word. I don't like what I got here. I don't. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just boring. I'm just trying to rewrite this damn thing. I'm changing it to I have 10 years of human resource professional experience and 20 years of nonprofit leadership experience. This is more my career in general. This isn't specific task, skill based. It's a little more general, right? I'm using 20 over there. Maybe I should change it to 10. There's kind of a rule when you get to 10 or over, you start using numbers. But below that, you write the word out. 1, 2, you use the whole word, not just the number, right? Currently HR consulting work and workshop facilitation. Currently doing contract HR consulting and workshop facilitation. I don't know. I don't know if I should add another sentence in there. If I spoke French or something like that, I would have a sentence. I speak fluent English, or I don't even speak fluent English. I speak fluent French or whatever. Like I would add that sentence in. Now I don't know what to say, but I think the rewrite. I have 10 years of human resource professional experience and 20 years of nonprofit leadership experience. I'm currently doing contract HR consulting work and workshop facilitation. Right? That's basically me in a nutshell. I gotta work. I might add something else, but that other crap I had on there, that wasn't. Why would I talk about full cycle HR stuff when that's already in my job descriptions, right? Full cycle HR services, right? It's already in there. I got no reason to say it again as some lame summary. So I'm probably going to add another sentence onto there. But let's go back to Joy's resume so I can prove myself wrong a few more times. This summary is better than not having a summary. That's the truth. Can it be is it the most perfect summary? No. There's room for improvement. But I think a non-HR person looking at this would probably be okay with this, right? But to me, I'm like, oh, you're repeating yourself, or some of this stuff can be better described in one of your work experiences or in your volunteer experience section or something like that, right? I may be a little more critical with that sort of thing, because that's kind of my slight OCD. But no, okay. I saw it and I was just like, this is the same thing that people put. It's just a list of skills. And you want a little bit more than that. More of a description of your career. I have been doing this for so many years, and I would like to move into some sort of position like this. And I also speak 10 different languages. Keep it more general career focused. So, I don't know. I have worked multiple administrative assistant positions over the last 30 years. And I've also managed small businesses and currently operate my own small craft business. Something like that. I am looking for you could be honest. I am looking for a full-time position to supplement our family's income. I don't know exactly how to say it, but that may be the phantom third sentence that I'm looking for. I'm applying for work in your organization because I think the job was interesting or sounds interesting, and that's the truth. I'm only applying for jobs that are really interesting to me right now. So that may be what you're doing. Don't talk about. I wish I could. I have 25 years experience in it. I mean, I was going to put 30 down for you, Joy, but then that seems maybe a little excessive. Definitely 25. You could say I have over 25 years experience, right? As administrative assistant in multiple organizations. I also have supervisory and management experience because I know when you worked at the library board, you had a small staff, 1 or 2 people that you supervised, I believe. And well, you were the library manager, so you did more than just work the library. You managed the whole show, right? And where's library's manager assistant, right? Your last position you had at the library was manager, right? So I would get rid of assistant. And this is 11 years. And with the family business, right, I also have over 10 years supervisory and management experience, right? So this is a little more general. I speak English and bad English. Just kidding. Don't put that. Bad English means swearing and stuff like that. But something more like that. I have over 25 years experience as administrative assistant in multiple organizations. I also have over 10 years supervisory and management experience. You are more than just an admin assistant. You are a supervisor. You are an office manager. You may be qualified for an executive assistant position, right? Now, there's some organizations they're going to demand that a manager or higher have a degree. You don't have the degree, but you do have the experience in management positions. So don't forget about that. You're centering this on the original summary was kind of on skills, things like that, whereas this is more high level. Yes, when we think about administrative assistants, we get an image of the type of work you do. But by saying multiple organizations, there's a possibility that you did a lot of different things, right? But we don't want to get into too much detail. Supervisor, management. When you were at, I don't want to be a manager again. I hate it. Well, it puts you in a more senior position. I mean, there's a certain level of trust, certain level of skill. Yes, you have the ability to do more. Maybe you don't want to do more. So I guess you got to make a decision on this sentence, right? What you're looking for. But I would add a third sentence here. I'm not sure what. Try not to make it just the skills-based things. Take each one of these things detail-oriented, go through your resume and see where you could add something that either specifically says I had to be detail-oriented because, or something that implies that you're detail-oriented. I had to organize all this stuff to make sure people's funerals for their loved ones were correct and didn't have any mistakes, right? Like you could put that in there that kind of implies that you're detail-oriented. Yeah, do something like that. Really, you probably could have used this. You probably could have sent it in just the way it was. But I feel like it's a keyword stuffing. It's repetitive, things like that. Right. Your next sentence could say, I'm not really interested in a supervisor or management experience. I would like to only do administrative work because I'm most comfortable there, or something like that. You could add a sentence like that, right? But you do have this supervisor and management experience. If anything, it'll give you the ability to negotiate a higher wage, right? You get an admin role, and then you can negotiate to try to get to a higher. Even in organizations that have pay grids and unions, you may be able to argue yourself into a higher pay grid, pay slot, pay level, by proving that you're more than just an entry-level administrative assistant, right? That's not you. It's absolutely not you. So if they're advertising the wage between, $25 and $30 an hour, you could argue that you should be getting 28, 29, right? Because you have more supervisor and management experience and you have 25 years doing various admin roles, right? Like that'll give you that ability. I was just thinking about the Big Stone Cree Nation. Their current HR person, she is not following their employee handbook, which specifically states all job ads must list the pay, right? And they're not listing that anymore. They're not saying that. I feel like she hasn't even read her own governing document. I've read it through multiple times, and I don't even work for Big Stone. So every ad should, you're not old. I can't call you old anymore, because then that's admitting that I'm old. So she's pulling this ageism on herself. You're not old, because I'm not old yet. All right, I guess I should put this on. Why is it gone? Oh, my screen is down. Don't forget to ask your questions in the comments. This isn't just the Joyce show. This is everybody's show. So, yeah. I like it when it's more general, high level. It's kind of an experience. So they could look at your resume and you can see the jobs you're doing, but maybe it's not easy. Oh my God, you shut your face. She almost got kicked off this show. At least I don't have gray hair. Yeah. Yeah. Big sisters suck. So yeah, try to keep it more general like this, because this is helpful to me when I'm looking at the resume. I'm like, oh, 25 years, oh, 10 years of this, right? As opposed to me going through and trying to calculate time with your dates, right? That's that makes it hard, right? I can go back. Okay, she's got 97 here, so we could say 25 years easy from this, right? But you kind of calculate, oh, how many times. This kind of helps you give them a general so they can see it. Someone's gonna get kicked off the Joy Show very soon. So yeah, do that. Make a change. It could work. You're ahead of a lot of other people by having this old one that you just redid, but I think you want to do more like this. Or test out 2 different versions and see what gets you more interviews, right? The beauty of being in a small town is that a lot of people already know you. So they may just see your resume and say, oh, we got to get Joy, right? Or they'll say, oh, that Joy, she thinks she's too good for her own shit, so we're not going to hire her. Okay, let's go on to work experience. Like, I'm still showing the screen, right? Yeah, okay. So, owner, creator, unbound creations. I mean, art to sell, help my family. Yeah, see, that seems to do the job. Yeah, that's why I'm not getting any jobs. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Everybody knows you too much in that small town. That, and you haven't properly bribed the right people. I mean, just saying. I think the only thing I would change here is because as someone looking for the dates, that's more relevant than the town you were in. So, oh. Right, do something more like that. mean, you can even get rid of the, oh my God. Get rid of the bold on Wabasca. The important thing is the owner creator, and the date is actually important too. So you could bold that. Right. This allows me, I'm only going to look at the town on my second time through. I really don't care. I see owner creator, could go artist. Yes, you're creating stuff, but you're doing, that's artisanal work. Artisanal. You're an artist. Shut up. Take it. Oh, I was about to do that. My God in heaven. Right. So, yeah, I would put the dates out on the side here because that's what me as an HR professional, it's a little more standard. It allows me to just look down the one side and kind of see the dates real quick. So I would do that. Points are good. Right, these are good points. I think you combined, you had this up twice before. I think you've combined it now. That's totally fine. Right. Depending on what's this big gap in here. Right. Oh, you do have a space there. Okay, good. Space there, yes. Wasn't it the commissioners that you worked for here? It wasn't the RCMP you worked for. I think it was the commissioners, wasn't it? I thought maybe that's the way it was set up. It's been a long time since I was a guard. There was at the old police station. There's a brand new police station now. I worked at the two before. You could say guard Wabasca RCMP station or something like that. You could get a little more detail there if you want, but your actual employer was the commissioners, I believe. Secretary, substitute. See, there's supervisor work. Students. Libraries manager. I'm glad you got lots of points in here. I'm not going to read through all of them, but this was a big job for you. This was a long time, right? So if you got more stuff in there, that's good. Making the changes as we go. That's great. When you adjust this part, hopefully it's going to be way shorter, so it will allow this to not overlap anymore. But I would put, if there's room up here, put a insert a page break as opposed to putting in individual lines. That's just a formatting thing, no big deal. Volunteered. So what you can do, now this was all for the Wabasca Demarys Lions Club, right? So you could move this whole section over. Oh my god, I hate this one. And like that. So Wabasca Demarys Lion Club, I would say unitalic, bold that, right? And so it lets you know that this is the company or the organization that all these jobs were a part of. They've all been indented a little bit more. I think that's what I did on mine. I believe my wife does that hers too, because she's had multiple jobs within her organization. So they basically, her whole resume is just, I worked for this organization and these are my 6 or 7 jobs I've had of since 2006 or 2007 or something like that, right? Yeah, you changed your formatting here, right? You had job. No, you had it. You wanted to keep the same formatting, that's fine. It's just a little different when it's something that, like this, that had multiple different positions in it. Possibly multiple different years, if you wanted to add the years in also behind each of these positions. Right. Education. Tab there. Got these management courses under your belt. If you could find the names of those management courses you took, I think those might be useful. You could list them in here underneath as bullet points under those positions, right? So I think that might be, if you could do that, that's more than just specific management courses, right? You might have taken nonprofit management or financial management for nonprofits or something like it could be a little more detailed that you could put in there. So if you could find that information, that might be helpful, because it's going to put in slightly different keywords for you. I think you're pretty close, right? Switch these around in the volunteer. I would try to do the exact same formatting you're using for your work experience as your volunteer experience. Try to use the same formatting so it doesn't get a little bit confused. Because if I'm looking at your resume and I got about 6 to 10 seconds to look at it, that initial view, that yes or no, I got to be able to not change my train of thought as I'm doing that. I need to quickly see dates and stuff like that. With the course, with the Northern Lakes College course, you could say it wasn't complete. That's fine. Because the last thing we want to claim is education that we didn't complete, we don't really have. You don't want to be in that situation. So it's okay to say not complete, right? That's totally fine. But the fact of the matter is, over the course of 11 years, you were taking some management courses. Whether it's not complete or not, I had my safety courses on my resume for a long time, and I've taken them off because I was trying to be a safety administrator. Because when I worked for a construction company, it made sense that the HR person was also a safety administrator. Not a full NCSO, but just the administrator. I think that made sense, but I don't have a desire to be working in the construction industry anymore, so I don't need it, and I took it off. Whereas these management courses might be something that you could use, that would make sense, right? Yeah, so she's working hard there. You're almost there, Joy. I think your resume, even with what you showed me just at the start, it was way better than the first one you had. It was way better. This is a much better version, and now what we went through today was essentially just tweaking. Right, you had it really good, actually, even though I made a big fuss about the summary just being a list of, I just see that all the time, and to see it on my own resume, because I've been trying to use ChatGPT to try to get me more interviews, and it offered to write the summary based a little bit more on the job and things like that. So I allowed it to do that, and I did put in a few resumes with the difference, and it didn't feel like it made a difference. So with my resume, I'm trying really hard to make sure a summary is a summary, right? It's a big overview. I've done this for years. Now I want to move into this. And I've also, I don't know, you could say something like, I've been taking training courses to change careers. And I speak fluent these languages, right? That's kind of what you're putting in there in the summary. It's not, I have skills using this program and that program, and I have done specifically this task. Things like that. Try to keep it a little more general with the summary. Whoa! We are 53 minutes in, and the spammer from Twitch appears. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. Oh, they're getting such good advertising on my show, aren't they? Incidentally, that's the only comments I get on Twitch, and it's always from a spammer talking about Streamboo. I mean, we had a different one the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? We had a different one. It wasn't Streamboo, so ooh, spammer's getting creative, I guess. So the place, once you get a good solid resume based on the industry you're applying for. So I always talk about the truck driver that applied for a finance job, right? Okay, the truck driver wanted to apply for another truck driving job, or a job related to the long haul trucking industry. Maybe he wants to move to dispatch or to warehouse or something. I don't know what related job, but he understands a large part of the logistics industry, the shipping industry, right? So you could have one resume that's like, yeah, I want to stay in the trucking industry, but then he would have another resume that says, I want to move into the finance industry. And for the last 5 years, he's been taking finance courses. He's been a part of an organization like WFG or Primerica or something like that, where it's a little easier to get into, but he's still taking the courses, the mutual fund courses, life insurance courses, everything that they give you. it's kind of a good place to get moving into the finance industry if you want to be in the finance industry when you're coming from somewhere different. So, Joy, when I think about your resume, I think, what's the goal for that resume, right? If it is purely an admin assistant job, simple admin job, then some of those things you might be able to take out, right? Just leave the pure admin assistant type stuff. I may still leave the library management stuff in, but you could get rid of the older stuff, like the laundromat stuff. You could get rid of anything that was specifically like customer facing is maybe not something that you needed to do. Like you could take out the guard job. Right? You could take out everything that's older than the library manager's job and keep that. Get rid of the guard job. And I don't know, you might keep everything else because it's just really recent. You really want to keep recent stuff just because it just shows that you're doing stuff. You're still an active person, right? Because it pisses me off. It's so biased. Why haven't you been working for the last few years? Or why was this big gap in your resume? And it's really none of the goddamn business. But if you got gaps because you've got two resumes going for two different industries or two different types of positions, it's okay to say, oh, I worked an unrelated job, but I was working during that time. But it's also okay to say, I was out of the job market because I was caring for a family, friend, or someone, like if someone takes time off work for mental health or helping a disabled or elderly family member, that should be a good quality, right? It means that person cares. They really care. But it's hard because managers, owners, they still come back, why didn't you work? Why weren't you working? That's why it's always, there's advice out there that says it's easier to get a job if you already have a job. So there's the advice where just go out and get any freaking job. It doesn't matter what the job is. It'll be easier for you to get another job. I think there's a vindictive nature in managers and owners to be like, yeah, I'm poaching this guy. And they feel good about that. But the problem with that is that you go out and you get the stupidest, most unrelated job to your career path that you're trying to build. So does it make it easier? Does it make it harder? It's like, oh, this person is waitressing. I don't want to hire her as a manager, right? Like, so there's a trade-off. One, it shows you're willing to work. Two, it's like it's unrelated and starts to question, well, you got your degree 5 years ago and you've only been serving and bartending during that time. Like, why haven't you gone? What's wrong with you that you didn't get a job in your industry, right? Like, there's a question that comes up, and it's harder to answer. In reality, it's nobody's business. You shouldn't be answering that question. Anytime something gets too personal during an interview, you should try to flip it around and just talk about your work. Because there's the tricks that the interviewers, they're trying to get personal information out of you, right? So, hey, welcome. Um, did you get here all right? That's a loaded question. Did you get here all right? Just say, yeah, no problem. Um, because they want to know if you were walking, biking, taking transit, whether or not you had a vehicle and you had difficulty parking. Um, they want you to inadvertently say, oh, yeah, I had to go down the freeway and it took me 45 minutes to get here, right? They want this info from you so they can be biased. So they can say, oh, this person takes the bus and they're always going to be late. Or this person lives on the other side of town, they're always going to be late or stuck in traffic, right? They want a reason to be biased. So if they ask you, did you get here all right? Or was traffic bad or something like that? Just say, no, it's fine. I got here okay. Just leave it at that. The next loaded question is, oh my God, tell us about yourself. I kind of fell for this. There's this new thing some managers are doing. They're inviting you to a coffee, an informal tea, or something like that. And whether it's online or an actual location, absolutely treat it like it's an interview. Keep it professional. Don't give up any of your personal information, right? Maybe when it comes to coworker interactions and things like that, definitely talk about how you interact or how you communicate with people. And it just, these sorts of things, they take your guards down, so you give up too much information. And I'm wondering with this last interview I did, where it wasn't a formal interview, it was just let's have a quick chat, informal, right? And I should have treated it more like an interview. I shouldn't have been as open and honest with the conversation. Yes, but you have horrible signage. Is this building? So I'm glad I was near to find your office. Don't insult the company you're trying to get to. Oh, I got lost because your stupid office is in a stupid place. Don't say that. Jeez. Anytime my wife has an interview or is planning to go meet with somebody at some place where she's never been, she always asks me if we could go drive by there first. So the day before, or the week before, or something, so that she knows where to go and we figure it out. She's good with line by line directions, right? Drive 50 meters, turn right onto this road. She's fine with that. I'm good with looking at a map, spatial awareness stuff, right? So when we're out there searching for something new, our skills work together and we find it and we get the proper information for her, right? And she can find it next time because she knows the route. But yeah, when you're doing that informal interview or the question, tell us about yourself, like that is so loaded. Keep it to your career. The people that are really trying to scam and get information that they can use negatively towards you, they're going to be upset. Yes, they are. And that might be a mark against you. But it's none of their business. Tell us about yourself. Oh, well, I graduated university back in 2016. I've worked a couple HR jobs. I was even HR manager of a construction company for most of 2020 during the COVID. And I had to drive. I almost gave it up. I almost said I had to drive to and from that job. So I almost indicated that I own a vehicle and I'm willing to travel, right? And that's a little more personal, right? And then I'll say, and I've been doing consulting work and facilitating HR and Indigenous workshops like the Kairos blanket exercise for the last 5 years. Keep it professional. Don't go on and on about your family or your house or where you live or your pets or your kids, your family, your vehicle breaking down, the fact that you're taking the bus all the time and bus passes are expensive. Um, don't keep it purely on experience, right? It is not their business. I've been in interviews where the person talked about themselves and they said they love to travel and they like to do the world travel stuff. They go to amazing places. And afterwards, one of the managers who was sitting in on the interview with me was like, I don't think we should hire this person, or we'll have to keep an eye on this person if we hire them, because they're just going to want to go take time off all the time to go on trips. Right? Like, you think something as simple as, oh, I love to travel, is nothing. But in actuality, on the other side of that, they're thinking, well, they're going to be asking for time off. We need someone who's going to be here all the time and never have days off. Right? Like, and that's definitely a red flag. But you're not going to see that in the interview. You're going to see it in that they didn't give you a second interview and or they didn't hire you. So you're going to wonder, well, why didn't they hire me? But they don't want to say, it's because we think you're going to take too many vacations, so you won't be reliable. Right? Like, they're not going to tell you that, ever. What's it say here? Most positions up here advertise that you must have reliable transportation. Okay, so look at the job ad. Is there anything in that job ad that says you need a vehicle? Right? Is there a job task that needs a vehicle to get it done? Right? And if they are saying you must have reliable transportation, then they should be reimbursing you for all your travel and fuel or whatever with that vehicle. That also has to be part of their job description. This is discriminatory. If there isn't something in the job that says you must go to the bank twice a week to do deposits, you must also go to the post office twice a week and pick up the mail, right? So that's part of the job. And if it means you need reliable transportation, then it means they should be paying you for your reliable transportation, right? So even if they say must have reliable transportation because you'll be running to stores or the bank or post office, whatever, occasionally, weekly, and we'll pay you an additional $100 a month. Same thing by saying you must have a cell phone. They must reimburse you for your cell phone. Could be as simple as you must have your own cell phone. We'll give you an additional $25 a month on your paycheck. Right? Man, for most of us, that covers almost half your cell phone bill, and that's awesome. Right? Extra $100 a month for you to going to and from the store a couple times a week, I mean, that's awesome. That covers that. That's no problem. But they can't just say that because they don't want you to be late for work. In my opinion, this is a red flag. Unless they've specifically said more than must have reliable transportation. It must say must have reliable transportation because part of your job will be going to the bank, doing deliveries or whatever, right? Occasionally, once or twice a week or whatever it might be. And in the same sentence, they should say you'll get an extra $50, $100 a month for the use of your vehicle. I mean, you want someone to have reliable transportation because you're secretly not wanting them to be late for work? Give them a reason. Give a reason. That's a red flag. The jobs are usually just like sitting at a desk. I think they're just trying to insinuate that most absences are from not having a ride. Yeah, well, you demand me to have reliable transportation. You will reimburse me for my transportation. Otherwise, I will get to and from the office, the work location, however I please. If I'm proven to be terribly late all the time, then by all means fire me. Right? But this is BS. That's a red flag. And I think the new Ontario labor laws that are coming in effect, I think January 1st, I think it specifically says something about this as their new labor law, saying that you can't demand that someone has a vehicle or something like that. I think I remember seeing something about it. I just read it real quick, but it was a lot of great stuff. You know, it's like when you're posting your job ad, you must put the rate of pay and you must reply within 45 days of an interview on whether or not you're hiring that person, and you can't just ghost people. So, if you need me to review your resume, there should be a link in all my links, and that goes to, of course, my link tree, which is linktr.ee/ENHRPro. I believe there's a link in there. And why is this thing acting up? And sometimes the interwebs is just so slow, and I think to myself, I should be grateful that I'm not using my old 33.3 dial-up modem from 2000, right? It is way faster now, especially here in the city. I feel I shouldn't ever complain about the speed of my internet here in the city. Sorry, my balloon veered off. Sorry, my balloon veered off course, and I'm in Edmonton. Not gonna make it today. Calm down, the great and wonderful Mr. Oz. Is that his name, Mr. Oz? What do you got, Dr. Oz? Wizard of Oz, the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. Yes, that's him veering off. I'm going, all of a sudden I'm in Oz. So, yeah. If you want me to review your resume, kind of like what I did with Joy's resume, you can go to my link here. I have a Fiverr gig that you can go to, and I'll do it up. Or you can just watch this in last week's video and just do it yourself, right? But sometimes specific resumes need specific information or whatnot. So, yeah. Keep everything professional. No to that giving up too much information. It feels dirty and dishonest to us sometimes because we're not answering what sounds like a genuine get to know you type question. And really concentrate on trying to keep all your answers professional, based on your work experience, based on your interactions with your previous coworkers, like those sorts of things. Your relationship with your family, your relationship outside of work with anybody, whoever, that's none of their business. Can't stress this enough, because I fall for these stupid questions too, right? I ended up giving up all kinds of personal information at that informal tea. So I think because usually it's a 3-step process with hiring somebody. You apply, we review your resume. We decide whether or not we're going to invite you to a first interview, aka a phone interview. It's a lot more just clarifying information with your experience and things like that. It's not going to be as tricksy. And then you get invited to the actual or the final interview, right? And that's usually the 3-step process. Most organizations go by this, but then you have other organizations where they got like 30 steps. I mean, you look at the resumes and your yes, no. Simple yes, no. Your HR, your recruiter, simple yes, no. There's a step in there that if you're applying through something like Indeed, it's been set up so it gives you a percentage on whether or not this person is going to be a viable candidate, and that's strictly based on keywords that you've put onto your resume. So you try to be as detailed as possible. I used a special program to do this. No, you used Microsoft Office Suite Excel. Like you put the whole word out, right? And because they're looking for Excel. Right? They're looking specifically Excel. They're not looking for a database program or a spreadsheet program, right? They're looking for Excel. So the automated system gives you a percentage rating that the recruiter or the HR person or the hiring manager sees. And they're like, okay, I'm only gonna look at the resumes of everybody who got 60% or higher, right? So immediately, like, what is it, like 60% of the applicants are gone, right? Because it's only everybody who got 60% or higher. Basically, I mean, everybody could have got 60% or higher. I don't know. But there's going to be this big chunk nobody ever sees because your resume makes just no sense for that job, right? So you're gone. You didn't even get on the table. A human didn't even look at your resume. So that's where you got to have this great resume that's going to match the keywords of that job description that they put out, the job ad they put out, right? Then someone looks at your resume. Recruiter, the HR person, the hiring manager. Then someone looks at it, and it's a simple yes, no. They're looking through yes, no. 6 to 10 seconds, yes, no. So they're filtering out people again. Chances are everybody who got 80 and above got yeses, and everybody who got 80% or low got no's. So now you've got this even smaller group. And hopefully at this point, they've already whittled it down from 500 resumes to 50 or something, right? Because now that person goes back and looks at all the resumes in more detail. And that's the decision to decide, should we do a phone interview with this person? So they're going to look at it and they're going to pick like maybe top 10, top 20. And they're going to say, okay, these 30 people, not good enough. Here's the best of the best. And they've narrowed it down 10 to 20 people. 20 is still a lot. So that's why I'm saying maybe possibly 10. Then they got to do 10 phone interviews, right, with this group of people. And they're doing clarifying questions. They're trying to get more detail about jobs and just more about your experience to get you better matched. And then from there, they look at the 10 they had and they say, okay, we're going to bring in the top 5. And of course, at every level, they're kind of pushing. So this bottom 5, we're going to leave just in case. But now we're going to take these top 5 in for an interview, an actual interview, final interview. And that's where it's a little more tricksy. And they're like, how'd you get here today? Was it okay for you getting here today? Tell us a little about yourself. These nice, friendly sounding questions. They're a flanking attack against you. That's what those questions are. They're trying to get detailed information out there to find out if you're a travel buff and you're going to be taking 6 weeks of vacation every year. You don't care if it's unpaid, but you're going to be taking all this extra time off because you want to go on vacations, or, whether or not you're going to be late for work all the time, or they think you're going to be late for work all the time because you don't own your own vehicle, and you manage to complain about the traffic or the bus pass or something, right? And it's like, oh, well, if they had trouble with traffic, they should have just came sooner. Or, oh, they got to use a bus pass and that's going to be unreliable or whatever, right? Like, so then they got to make a decision between like the top 5 candidates. Then they hire. They wait for a response, the person to accept. This is where negotiations happen. We're offering you the position for $25 an hour. Please sign here. And that's where you come back and say, I'll be willing to take the position for $28 an hour. Right? You always negotiate. Always. Because if they can come back and say, oh, that's outside of our pay grade, I can give you $26. I mean, you still gave yourself $1 raise if you accept the 26. Right? So then you're like, I'd be willing to take the 26 if I can be guaranteed a cost of living increase every 6 months as long as I work with you, right? You always want to negotiate something. I negotiated once, and I negotiated a raise after 6 months, and then I never got another raise, right? And it's just like, this sucks. So you always negotiate. I don't care who you're applying for or whatever. You negotiate. You try to get higher up on their pay grid. It's a personal business. There's always room. Always negotiate. My last interview asked what I was expecting for a wage, and I said more than I'm making now. Yeah, people are money motivated. A lot of times that's the primary reason why we change jobs. It is proven that by moving from company A to company B, even if you're doing the exact same job, you can get a 20 to 30% raise. Right? That is big money. So you see these new graduates coming out of school, and for the first 5 years of their career, they basically had like 5 different jobs because they kept jumping and jumping and jumping, because they would do 6 months to a year at certain positions, and they're getting that raise because they're bringing a little bit of extra experience with them. So when you're looking for like a mid-level someone, you're asking for 5 to 10 years experience, and you see someone who's got all these different jobs, it's basically same position, same industry type stuff, but they had multiple jobs. For some reason, hiring managers look at that and say, oh, they're a job hopper, or they got issues, or they're not going to stay with us very long. Well, maybe they're finally in a position and they're making enough money, they're going to stay with you for the next 15 years, right? So a smart HR person understands that young people or new people to the industry, they do job hop because they are trying to get their wage up. Now Joy says, more than I'm making now, because she was unemployed. Oh, wow. Oh, you are willing to work for $15 an hour, and you must have a reliable vehicle. Fuck off. I mean, living wage. Look up the living wage in your community, or try to calculate the living wage, the 3 or 4 communities that are closest to you, add them up, divide them by how many you got. If there was 3 or if there's 4, add them up, divide them by 4, and that gives you a living wage. That's how much you should be making minimum. Otherwise, technically, they're paying you poverty wages. It's not illegal, but they're just trying to rip you off because the government says you only have to pay 15. I mean, the minimum wage in Alberta should be 25. That should be the minimum wage in Alberta. And I know all the business owners and the corporations, we'll go under, our business will die, I'll have to close up tomorrow. I'm like, you're doing something wrong in your business, man. You need to get creative. You need to reevaluate exactly what you're doing. Something is wrong with your business. It's not the employee's fault, and that they need to live, right? You want employees that will work with you for a long time. Step 1 is pay them well. That's it. Step 1. You don't need any other step. Step 1, pay them well. Step 2 is, I talk about it all the time, you pay a cost of living wage increase at least once a year. If you think that person is okay, maybe not a rock star, and definitely not somebody that you're planning on firing, give them the cost of living increase. If you do it every 6 months, it's like 1 to 2%, 1.5% every 6 months or something like that, right? You want to do it yearly? Fine. But tell them, let them know, we give this. And the cost of living shouldn't have any caveats. We'll give you a cost of living increase every 6 months or every year as long as you hit your numbers. I mean, well, that means merit increase. Cost of living is just me staying alive, me feeding my children. If you can't give me that, I'm going to go work somewhere else. If you're going to give a pay increase because someone hits their numbers, beats their numbers, does something amazing, that's called merit pay increase. That's totally different from the cost of living pay increase. Now, they could be the same amounts. You could say, we'll give you cost of living every year, which is normally 2 to 4%. I think lately it's been like 3%. But if you're a really good employee, you could be giving them that same amount as a merit pay increase. Right? So anyway, why am I talking to employers right now? Today was for employees. Sorry about that. Well, I hope you get some action out of your resume there, Joy. I might consider a third sentence up there for your summary, but I don't know. I can't think of something right now. And, if you don't want to be in a supervisor or management role, then maybe take that out. I mean, when the one place outright said if I don't get more education, then I was no longer getting a pay increase. However, the MD still gave the COLA, so I was making a killing still. Yeah. Right, something like a municipal government. I don't think it's unionized up in Wabasco, but certainly here in Edmonton, there's city unions or whatever. You kind of deal with this pressure from the union side of things, ensuring that the cost of living is there. And a lot of governments will automatically do cost of living and readjust pay each year. If they're not doing that, they don't have very good leadership. But yes, they may not give you a merit pay increase or allow you to get a promotion because you don't have the education they're looking for in that new role. They absolutely can do that, right? There are so many forms of education now, but you end up having to pay for them yourself. A big thing I always advise people is you want some education right now, go out and take a bunch of AI courses. Become the AI expert. And, once you can walk into an organization and automate something with AI, you're suddenly worth a little bit more than your regular pay, right? You've taken the one Coursera course, Joy, so you could take more Coursera courses. If you're just looking for these extra little courses, but I just don't like the way they want a degree or something. Like, the world is really changing. For me, with human resources, I'm specifically moving into a specific place, a specific industry. They have things in place, right? Get your degree, get your experience, start the process to get your professional designation. Keep doing training every 2 years in order to keep your professional designation, right? This is an industry I've gone into, so I've got to follow those rules. Yeah, definitely take a few more of them courses that make sense. You're going into administrative work. Find the stuff that will help you do the administrative work better. The stuff that you can use in your role that will help the people that you're supporting, right? So look for that stuff. You end up having to pay for it yourself. But definitely, if you can find an AI course that just trains you how to use AI, there's a lot of different tools out there. But, you can simplify something, speed up the process that makes the clients or the customers, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not the shareholders, the stakeholders, right? If you're a government job, it's like the community members, the stakeholders in the community. How can you help them better through that sort of course? And I mean, it is really annoying. Consider a certificate, an official certificate, that is the formal from a university, accredited university. Consider the certificate path, because it might get you to a position where you don't need the degree, but you've got enough education that they'll be like, okay, yeah, she's done a little bit of extra stuff. I started backwards with my degree. I got my human resources management certificate. That's this small one here right behind me from Grant MacEwan University. I got that first, and then I had those courses transfer over to get my degree. And most of these courses in the certificate were third and fourth year courses for my degree. So when I got back to going into university, I had to do all my first and second year courses before I even got into HR stuff again. And it was really annoying. It was really a hard slog. But if the advice I give to anyone, especially a young person, get a degree, any degree, right out of high school. I don't care what kind of degree it is. Go get your Bachelor of Arts. That's it. Just something. It's just a simple, basic degree. It's not specialized in anything. Don't specialize. Just go get a taste of everything. And then when you decide what career you really want to be in, it took me till I was 30 before I decided, yes, HR is where I want to be. If I had my BA before, if I had gotten it in the early 2000s, I would have just needed this certificate. This 2-year certificate gets me into the HR industry. I would have some generic degree, and then I get the certificate which says you are Mr. HR man. My HR courses were really easy for me at the University of Lethbridge because I had already been exposed to a lot of these advanced courses. So a certificate is really powerful. It really is. Especially if you have just any old degree that you got. You decide which industry you're in, you want to go in, when you're 25, 30 or whatever, then you go get that certificate. That certificate in that degree. I see a lot of HR professionals who have some other degree, and then you can see like 5-10 years later, they got their HR certificate, and now they've been doing HR for the last 20 years, right? It's powerful. It's from really advanced stuff you get with your certificate. So what did they call them? They're post-degree certificates or something like that, right? So it's not going in and getting a master's, but it's a specific industry specific, right? So I kind of went backwards with mine, but it was nice because once I got to third and fourth level, I had fewer courses to take. And I'm still toying with getting a master's. I don't want an MBA because I'm not so good with the maths. So I'm deciding on if I want to do a master's or not. Still toying with it. But I think the most important thing I can try to do is get my full CPHR designation right now. That's probably the most important thing. And I keep forgetting about it because I get in there to fill out that application and it's like, what the heck, man? What the heck? Because I don't specifically work for one organization as an HR professional, I have multiple clients. So it's very hard for me to answer these questions. I feel like I'm just making it up. Anyway, my career has been all ass backwards, right? Like it's just, bleh. But I would say if you're just coming out of high school, go get a degree, any degree. Just get a BA. Just get that done. And then once you grow up, aka once you get into your late 20s, early 30s, and you decide what you really love, then you go get that certificate. And that drives you into that industry, right? That's for people that don't know what the heck they're doing. Right? My plan while I was in high school was to get my computer sciences degree. That's my plan. That's where I was going to head out after high school. And in grade 11, basically everything went to hell because I couldn't get a 20 level science that I needed. I needed either physics 20 or chemistry 20 in grade 11. I hate chemistry, so I didn't get my chemistry 10. I got my physics 10, but then they didn't offer physics 20 the next year because I was the only student in physics. But I had my biology. I left high school with biology 20. So when I went back to Northern Lakes College to take some courses, my plan at that point was to get my political science degree because I'd run in a couple elections and this sort of stuff really interested me at the time. So I started my political science degree at that point, but I still needed a 30 level science. So it's part of my upgrading to get my degree. I got my 30 level biology, and that was super easy. Man, biology was just straight memorization. And between biology 20 and biology 30, I don't think anything changes. It felt like the same content to me. Maybe it was a little more detailed, but I had all the basics already when we were talking about the cells and organelles and all that stuff. I had all that already, and I actually, in the middle of class one time, we were taking distance class. There was like 5 of us listening to the instructor in the classroom, and I said, has the course changed? Like the biology 20 and the biology 30, has the course material changed in the last couple of years? Because I flat out said, I know all this. I don't know what happened. My biology 30 I took as upgrading at Northern Lakes College. I believe I left the class with a 97. Insane. That's stupid. It's just straight memorization. Biology is just straight memorization. Chemistry, you had the big molecule formulas you had to do, just totally confused me. Drove me insane. So in my lower course in science, I was just like, screw this, right? No, I had science 10, and then I got physics 20 and biology 20, and then in high school or in grade 12 they didn't have physics 10 or something. Anyway, I ended up missing it, and I only had the biology 20 gave me enough science credits that I could graduate, so go figure, right? My sister says, I'm still lost at 50. I wanted to be an accountant in high school till I realized I hate math. Yes. Took me 3 tries to pass my statistics course to get this degree up here behind me. It took me 3 tries, man. The key to passing statistics, just do as many of the assignment of the equations as possible. Just ask your instructor, ask your professor to give you like 10 more or something, and just work through them. Because once you work through the equations multiple times, then you'll be able to pass the exams. Man, it was rough. You have to make those equations just like, there's no, I was trying to just memorize the equations, but I wasn't, they didn't make sense to me when I was trying to use them, so just use them. That's the important thing for stats. So get that degree right out of high school, even if it's some crap degree. I don't want to say it's crap, it's still more important. If you get that degree, you're still a step ahead of everyone else. You won't have this lifelong struggle like me or my sister not getting our proper education right away. And, I got these part-time, working full-time at my job, taking night classes. And I could do that because I was here in Edmonton, and especially the Grant MacEwan University always had night classes. And the University of Lethbridge, they had night classes also, and they were kind of capturing those people from Grant MacEwan, because Grant MacEwan wasn't a university until more recently, and so they couldn't give out degrees or the advanced degrees or whatever. So this was kind of where University of Lethbridge Edmonton campus kind of took over and allowed you to finish off your degree and stuff like that, right? So man, so yeah, I'm still thinking about my master's. I started now, I will have it before I turn 50. I should. So I won't be in the same position as my sister, who's 50 and completely lost. Neener. But I don't know. I'm a terrible student. Yeah. Liz got her master's online through Athabasca, so she was teaching and learning. Yeah, see, so that's also something I'm thinking. I'm thinking of taking like a Native Studies Masters or something like that. Something that's a little more not mathy. Something that maybe paper written, but then I don't want it research based either. I just want to take classes and learn and get my master's. I don't want to do up a bunch of research. I don't want to have to really do up a thesis. Like I don't know. I think I might do worse like that. But if I can find a good topic, maybe I'll be okay like that. And I'm certainly not going for my PhD ever. But I don't know. Depends on how many of my courses can transfer from University of Alberta and Grant MacEwan over to a master's program. Maybe a couple of them might. I don't know. Probably not. Anyway, if you need to get a hold of me for anything, all my links are up here. You can book a discovery meeting with me if you want to chat with me. If you want me to review your resume, the link's up there in all my links. That, again, takes you to my link tree. So you want to use that QR code to get there. And especially if you're a small business owner and you want to stop some of your staff drama, I got a $7 ebook in there that you can purchase. And that's a first step to help you get through these HR issues you might be having. And tomorrow is Fun and Games. I was also scheduled to go live on Whatnot but I think I'm going to cancel that show because Whatnot is just not working out for me. I don't have a bunch of stuff that I'm creating and selling, you know, like other people. And I definitely don't have the time to be going to flea markets and uh, uh, thrift stores or garage sales looking for stuff that I could resell. Right? I don't have that time. So I think I'm going to stop using Whatnot. But I love the idea of Whatnot. And I think a lot of people could benefit from that and create a steady income. Absolutely. And so I'm not saying I don't like Whatnot. I'm saying Whatnot just doesn't work out for me because I sell my ebook, which is a digital product. How can I sell you a physical copy of my digital product? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So, yeah. So there. So I'll see you tomorrow.